first things first, you play Christopher and Rebecca in the new series. Can you just tell us very briefly a bit about your characters?
Cool. Well, Christopher Ewing is the adopted son of Bobby Ewing and originally Pam Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the driving force of my character is sort of predicated on the fact that he was adopted and he's not a blood Ewing. You know, so he's constantly trying to prove himself both as a man and kind of, you know, carve out his place in the Ewing family hierarchy.
I play Rebecca Sutter, who's engaged to Christopher. They met a few years back and on a trip, and comes back with him to get married at the South Fork Ranch and meet all the family. And she's a mystery girl. You don't really find out much about her in the pilot, but then you kind of start revealing a lot more things throughout the season. And
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately, you know, she's a very smart girl. She's a lawyer. And she's very much in love with Christopher.
Can you tell us very briefly a bit about your characters?
I'm involved with John Ross.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a love triangle with John Ross and Christopher, so in that sense, Elena's very conflicted. She grew up on the Ewing Ranch, and she's desperate to prove herself because she did not grow up like the Ewings did with a silver spoon in their mouth. So she wants to prove herself badly, so she's ambitious.
Okay.
Did I grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth?
You did. You were born with one. You didn't grow up with one. That was a misuse of the. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. That's all right.
It's really nice of you.
I play John Ross Ewing, J.R. and Sue Ellen's son, and I'm very ambitious. I'm basically, you know, I have a mission, and that's to be, you know, somewhat follow in the footsteps of my father.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a successful, powerful oil man, and I kind of don't want to stop at anything until that happens. And I'm a little troubled because I don't have great relationships with my mother nor my father, but at the same time I want to make my father proud in a way, and I want to gain his respect. So he's got a long road ahead of him.
So Josh, you and Jesse play on-screen rivals. Is there any rivalry in real life, perhaps over who has the biggest stetson?
That's awesome. I've never heard that question. That's awesome.
Good one. You know, yeah. I think there is. We've known each other for a long time.
Okay.
Probably 10 years.
At the end of the day, we've known each other for a long time, and we've been friends for 10 years, so we have a lot of times when you're doing a scene with an actor, you don't really know them, there might be a wall up, and you feel like it's not really working. He and I don't really have any walls up. We enjoy each other's company, and we can really kind of dive in and you know, hopefully produce a better, more intense scene.
You know, we played on this charity basketball team together. You know, we were pretty competitive on that thing. You know, kind of vying for playing time. You know, we've been up for a lot of the same parts. So I think there is a bit of a real built-in rivalry there, and I think it's you know, it's good for the show. It's good for our storylines.
Who is the bigger Stetson?
You don't have an answer to that.
Jesse, you've played characters with a bit of a womanizing side before. Is Christopher very different from that?
Very different. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a very welcome turn for me. This is the first opportunity in television I've really had to sink my teeth into a more substantial character,
Mm-hmm.
a more mature character, more complex. So, you know, I'm having a lot of fun with it. But more importantly, why this character is so different is that he's a much more righteous character. You know, he really has a strong moral center.
Jordana, how was it playing the love interest of two attractive men?
It was horrible. It was torture every day.
I bet.
No, it was wonderful to be the center of attention in this wonderful love triangle. And one day I'd be doing a love scene with Josh. One day I'd be doing a love scene with Jesse. So girls were jealous. Girls are jealous on Twitter.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
I can imagine.
They're like, you're so lucky. And I was very lucky.
The original series was famous for its cliffhangers, including one character waking up in the last episode of season 9 to discover the whole season was a dream. So can we expect any bombshells like that from the revamp?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's more cliffhangers than ever. I think every time you go into a commercial break, there's a cliffhanger. There's everything. They very smartly brought back everything that worked and from the original and put it into a whole season.
Almost every episode has a major bombshell. Right?
Yeah.
I think the difference between the new series, or one of the major differences between the new series and the old series, I think this series is a lot more grounded. You know, I really don't think there's going to be any dream season.
Presumably you were both a bit too young to watch Dallas the first time round, but are your parents, grandparents excited to see you take up the Dallas legacy?
Super excited. They were super excited to visit set. My mom has met Linda now and met Larry this time around, and She's just starstruck every time because she was a huge fan of the original.
And my family, you know, I grew up in Dallas, so I'm learning how big my family is now per week on Facebook. So I'm getting a lot of new cousins and second cousins, and it's exciting.
That's nice.
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal. It's a big deal to my mother, and my Meemaw was the most avid Dallas fan ever. So the fact that I'm on the show now, it's very surreal, but they're very proud, and it's just a really awesome time for us right now.
So you've been filming in Dallas. Have you picked up any Texan slang?
No, but sometimes I'll say y'all, and then I'll catch myself. But no, I haven't really.
Every once in a while, someone's like, "Do you have a Southern accent?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No." Like, I'm the furthest person from like, you know, having a Southern accent.
Yeah.
I'm like a total Yankee. I was born in Connecticut. I went to college in New York City. And every once in a while, someone's like, you sound like you have a Texas twang. So maybe I'm picking it up.
I think that when you're around it so much, I mean, I'm kind of picking up the British accent here.
Like
Yes,
you?
she is.
Yeah, I kind of am. I know, it's great.
I tracked down a Texan dictionary online. I want to see how up you are on your Texan slang.
He was born there, though.
Okay,
He
so
might
you're
have a
probably gonna be
one-up.
very good at this.
I want to hear her answers first.
Okay.
So can you tell us what goobers are?
Candy, aren't they? They're like a chocolate
Hmm.
peanut candy.
Yeah.
Or is it
Well,
a silly
it's a
person? Like, you're
peanut.
such a goober. Have you called me a goober?
A goober? My mother used to use that term all the time. I don't think I've called you a goober, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Does it mean silly person?
Yeah, goofball.
Okay.
Goober.
Goober.
Can you use that
And
now?
if someone asked you to grab a root, what would they be referring to?
Potato?
I don't even know what that is.
Grab a root.
Yeah.
Oh, no, a beer, maybe.
Apparently, it's just eat dinner.
I've never
Oh.
heard that in my life. But I
Grab a
like
root.
that. Learn something every day.
Yeah, maybe you could start using it.
Yeah, let's grab
Yeah.
a root.
Introduce it to the script.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And what does the expression "slap your pappy" mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Slap your pappy.
I mean,
Slap your ass?
some people call pappy like a grandfather, but
I don't think you would
I
slap
don't-
your grandpa.
Yeah, me neither. So, slap your pappy?
I'd say your butt.
It means patting your stomach.
Slap your
So
pappy.
Say like a big meal or something. Slap your
Oh.
pappy.
Yeah,
Slap my pappy.
that's perfectly
Yeah.
appropriate right now.
Yeah.